We will start with those and take up the other questions from the chat box if the time permits. Time to introduce the moderator of our session, Ms. Sudhanshu Grover. Ms. Grover is the head of educational services at Action for Autism. Sudhanshu trained as a special educator in 2001. Over these 2 decades, Sudhanshu has worked with individuals with autism across ages and abilities. Sudhanshu designs and executes curriculum for individuals and for group sessions. She mentors and trains special educators, carries out training workshops and sensitization programs for corporates and with civic bodies. Sudhanshu has also developed and authored resource material for parents and professionals in the sector. In addition to being a professional, Sudhanshu is also on the autism spectrum and is also a parent to her twin sons who are autistic adults. Without further ado, over to you, Sudhanshu.
Thank you, Tanvi. So autism is the fastest growing developmental condition in the world, yet it continues to be commonly misunderstood. There is a lot more information that is available on autism now, many more books that one can read, yet one can only guess how it feels to be in a sensory overload or experience an excruciating meltdown. To understand autism in totality, it is vital to hear the voices of those who know autism from inside out, the autistic self-advocates, who have a lived experience and hence a unique perspective about the condition. They can elucidate aspects of autistic experience, the breadth and depth of which many of us can only imagine. They offer incredibly valuable insight of what may work, what does not work, and what may look like it's working while causing unintended damage. Their voices matter, and it's time we listen to them and amplify them. Today, we have a wonderful group of panelists here who will be sharing some of their perspectives and bringing to you their journeys in the various stages of life they are in. We mindfully organize this panel so that it becomes meaningful for you as you hear their diverse voices in their diverse settings. This panel is very near and dear to my heart for 2 reasons. Firstly, like all our panelists here, I'm autistic too. I was diagnosed last year at the age of 49. Secondly, all panelists are related to me in some way. Prakriti and Rudraksh are my students. Rahul is the son of a fellow parent. Drishan is my own son. Rakshita and Pranav are dear friends. And Mr. Guha is an old buddy and colleague. I'm really looking forward to hear what my friends on the spectrum have to share with all of us. I'm going to just start with a brief introduction of our first panelist. Prakriti Ghosh is 13 years old and was diagnosed when she was 3. She is currently studying in 8th standard in an inclusive school in Delhi. Prakriti likes to draw comic strips, paint, sketch, read, and play chess. She also makes chocolates and bakes cookies. Prakriti will be sharing her experiences from school. Over to you, Prakriti.
Prakriti, can you unmute yourself, please?
Thank you very much, Sudhanshu ma'am. So, my name is Prakriti and I am an autistic teenager. So, I'm going to tell you about my school from my point of view. Like many things in life, there are things I like about my school and things I don't. So, first of all, what do I like about my school? First of all, it meets my social needs, or rather, that's what the offline school did. I was able to see my friends on the bus and in school as well. and I used to enjoy chatting about with them and playing games. And all of us enjoy being with our friends, don't we? Second of all, now that we're in online school, sensory overload is less. This is because that in every class we remain on mute and most of time only teacher speaks. If anyone else has to answer, everyone else remains on mute, and that way only there is less noise than before. Third, it gives shape to my day, and that means it gives more structure to my day. It is said that many autistics they keep a fixed routine and they don't like it when there's such a situation where it deviates, that it doesn't go the way that as should be in their routine. And I'm not really much of a fixed routine person, so I sometimes like it when I have school because it makes me feel less idle. And fourth, maths class. Many people find maths quite interesting. Few others find it just plain frustrating. I do like maths, but sometimes it rips off my brain. And why do I like it? Because it's very interesting. It's such a topic that cannot be taught by rote. You have to expose the child to how a maths problem should be done. And the more he practices, it gets ingrained into the bacha's head. And the kid then realizes, oh, this is how math should be done. And welcome to what I dislike about my school. Number one, auditory rote learning. You see, mind of someone with ASD, it is rote, but it is a but it learns visually. There's a concept of photographic memory, and that's quite common in people who have disorders like Asperger's and autism. Problem is there's too much old information when it comes to teaching in schools, and I cannot ingest that type of information. It just runs out of my head like water off a duck's back, or it's like rain on the tarred pavement. There's not does not percolate into the ground. It just remains there on the surface. Second of all, teaching method is not suited to my learning style. Many a times the teacher use a very dull language for explaining. They don't expose us to the material. And one very famous example of this is history. My teacher, even though she keeps a slide, as a visual aid. She still tries to stuff the information into our heads, and it doesn't go into my head like it should. Sometimes I rely on my school books, to see what is teacher explaining, and the material there is written down, so I consume that. Else I just rely on the PPT, or I just sit in a world of my own. It's like this teacher is teaching, she's singing, she's giving a lecture which is like a lullaby. It says I will put you to sleep, and I'm just wrapped up in my own world. It's a warm blanket, and I don't want to get out of it. And these are my wishes. As I said before, I do want a hands-on teaching and practical. Because for many kids who have ASD, like me, it gets hard. It's hard for them to digest the information. They learn through direct experience, not by watching and then perhaps concluding, oh, this thing should be done like this. And second one is definitely schools become offline and in person again. See, whether ASD or not, many kids like me probably wish that, because we got to see our friends there. We got to ride in the buses and play games with them, like rock, paper, scissors, etc. And we enjoy being with them. We also got to see our classmates. So now we don't get, and we only get to see their faces. It's not like we get to chat with them every day.
It has a 5 more.
Yes?
Prakriti, you can carry on.
So, thank you for lending your ears.
Thank you, Prakriti. Your presentation was so insightful and simply awesome. I agree that learning would be so much fun if, rather than sitting on the table and chair all day long in school and learning by rote and listening to lullabies, we would be doing stuff, making models, doing projects, and carrying out experiments. It would not only be helping us, learners on the spectrum, but all learners, as all learners learn differently. Everything will then percolate down. Thank you. I'm going to move to our next contributor for the evening, Rahul Daniel Shivraj de Mello. Rahul de Mello is 23 years old and has completed BTech in Mechanical Engineering. He's currently working on upgrading his skills in software-based design and 3D modeling. Rahul is a keen drummer and also plays the keyboard. He enjoys watching music videos and movies. He loves meeting people and connecting with family and friends. He has a rocking sense of humor and also enjoys listening to Bollywood songs. Rahul will be sharing with us his college experiences. Rahul, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, I'm Rahul. I'm 23 years old and live in Gurgaon. I've just completed my BTech in Mechanical Engineering this summer from Ansal University, Gurgaon. My motto in life is never give up. I am a keen drummer and also play the keyboard. I enjoy watching music videos and movies in my free time. I like going to malls, clubs, hotels, restaurants, parks, and gardens and solving puzzles. I like listening to music, playing games on the phone, watching TV, meeting people, and chatting with them. When I was younger, I didn't like going to other people's houses because I was scared of the expressions and the way some people looked or spoke. Some places used to frighten me. Example, places that had plants or trees, animals like dogs and cats, dirty, cluttered places. I did not like to go by an aeroplane as I thought it would go upside down and I would fall down. I don't like people shouting at me or people making me do things that I don't want to do. I like to do my own thing. Sometimes I find it difficult to control my repetitive behavior. I find it difficult to do complicated things, example, making my bed and answering other people's questions. Technical drawing and designing with SolidWorks and engineering maths are easier to do. I find it hard to do. I find it hard to do compositions and making sentences with one word and forming them in the proper way. I also find it difficult to interact with people who ask me too many questions or talking about my son. I overcome my difficulties by controlling my brain, by lying down on my bed and doing exercises, meditation and listening to music. In this way, I can focus on what I need to do, remove the bad things that come to my mind. My plan for the future is to work in an office designing and making some electrical appliances like fans, washing machines and geysers, etc. The kind of support I would need in an office is that they should help me, be kind to me, talk nicely to me, not shout at me, not get angry with me. My college experiences. Before getting admission in college, my mom took me to see the college. I was interested in knowing how fads worked, which has been my passion since I was small, and Suresh sir showed works. And I knew this was what I wanted to do, make new fans and other machines. However, though I wanted to do electrical engineering, since there were no other students in electrical, I went into mechanical engineering, the toughest branch of engineering. My first day in college, I was excited but also scared that I would have to sit in college the whole day. Things that I liked about college. The events that take place like cultural events, singing, acting and dancing events, project presentation, farewell party, awareness of autism. The children in the college from different classes and doing different courses, the way they talk, dress up, the way they interact with me. Some of the children in college were nice to me and some were not. The teachers in the college who are gentle to me, the ones who teach me nicely, the ones who talk to me nicely. The whole place and the campus is good. It has different buildings, a sports area, a canteen, a garden. The course and the easy subjects like Maths 3, Manufacturing Science 1, Economics, Electrical Machines and Controls, Professional Ethics and Engineering Values, Environmental Science, Mechanical Engineering, Organizational Behavior, Heat and Mass Transfer, etc. Things that I did not like about college. The students troubling me, not letting me copy the notes that I have missed in class and what the teachers teaching from their book. Some students used to throw water on me in the students' bathroom to wet me when I used to go to the cubicle. They were wanting to join me in the bathroom. They used to bang the door of the cubicle and the door broke. And I was inside it and the door was locked. How I coped with the bullying. I felt angry with the bullying that happened in college. I shouted at the students bullying me in college. It took me a long time to tell mommy and daddy and my teachers about the bullying in the bathroom. One day in one of the labs on the ground floor in college, my classmates were telling me to lie down on the floor and do some exercise. After that, they threatened to hit me with a stick when I protested. When they were about to hit me with a stick, I shouted at them and said, "Hey," in an angry way with me, making big eyes at them. one boy was clicking a video of me doing this thing in the lab, and he showed it to the teacher and the lab in charge. I was frightened and angry, but I was not able to tell my parents until one day I was watching the news on TV and saw a case about one boy being murdered in the bathroom at Ryan International School. After that, I was able to tell my mother about the bullying that was going through in college. The, the other things that I didn't like about college are the teachers who are strict and angry with me, who don't talk nicely to me, who don't teach me nicely, who tell me to write fast, who get angry with me. The teachers stopping me from doing this course. The teachers who tell me that I'm not working hard, make me fail in one subject. Teachers going faster with the subject, not waiting for me to finish. Teachers change the slide on the screen and erase the board when I'm writing in my book what the teacher is teaching in class. The difficult subjects like fluid mechanics, kinematics of machinery, Maths 1, Maths 2, internal combustion engines, introduction to numerical methods, chemistry, physics, basics of electronics. My wish list of things that could have made life easier for me in college. There should be holidays and vacations for the students in college. There should be a short break between the two lectures in college. Lesser lectures, lesser subjects. Better teachers who teach me properly and are not strict. The students should not trouble other students, not bully other students, and should be empathetic to other students. Projects and internships. Design and installation of a solar-powered AC fan and LED light at Turkapur village near Manesar. Project under the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 2.0. Design of various parts of an outdoor unit AC and Daikin air conditioning R&D center at Nimrana. Minor project of 3D structure design of sheet metal parts of HVAC product and Daikin air conditioning R&D center at Nimrana. Finally, a major project of design and fabrication of a ceiling fan with adjustable height at Dismania Design Studio, Manesar in collaboration with Orient Electric Limited. Project work, design and fabrication of sheet metal parts. This was in Nimrana. I had gone for the design, the fabrication of the sheet metal parts to Ferraria, that is near Daikin in Nimrana. This is a part that I have made, that I have manufactured in that workshop myself. This is the fan that I've drawn on SolidWorks. Autism awareness and answers. Every year on 2nd of April, which is Autism Awareness Day, this World Autism Awareness Day, we distribute bookmarks to all the people in college, and I talk about myself and autism to create awareness of autism and sensitize people on campus. Many teachers, including my dean and some students, support us by wearing the color blue and a blue ribbon. They also signed their name on the poster to support me and autism. These are memorable moments at Ansals. This is Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 2.0 summer internship. Favorite teachers. This is a poster that I had done on, I presented on recycling of waste into recycling of grey water at a smart city conference in college. These are favorite teachers who taught me nicely and were nice to me, strict and kind to me. Here I done a minor project presentation on design of the sheet metal parts of an air conditioner. Industrial visit. This is where I had gone with my mechanical engineering students to the Havells plant that is in Nimrana. This is the day when my sister had come to pick me up from college, where I treated her to kappa noodles in college. This is the last day of college. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, for taking us through your journey. Your projects looked amazing. And even when things were not quite right, you persisted. You lived up to your motto, never give up. We face many
Thank you.
barriers on a daily basis. Thank you, Rahul. We face many barriers on a daily basis, and often the most difficult barriers to overcome are attitudes of other people, which may arise out of ignorance, fear, or misunderstanding. It is important to talk about autism. It is important for people to hear our needs and understand our perspectives. And actually, this sets the stage for our next speaker, KB Rudraksh, who will be sharing his journey of becoming a self-advocate. Rudraksh is 18 years old and passionately advocates for autism acceptance and neurodiversity in his school, workplace, and society. Rudraksh has conceptualized and is in the process of executing a project called Nurturing Neurodiversity in order to change negative perceptions about learning differences and autism. He is also a sport and fitness enthusiast and has diverse interests including swimming, Hollywood movies, and TV shows. Over to you, Rudraksh.
Hi, my name is Rudraksh and I am a proud autistic individual. I am 18 years old and I've just completed my schooling from the GDO Inca Public School. Next. So these are the topics I'll be covering today. Next. After I got diagnosed with ASD at the age of 6, my life and my parents' life went through a huge change. Without their help, without the help of the schools that accepted and supported me, the many therapists and counselors who've been with me every step of the way, and a progressive board like CBSE, I probably would not be the individual I am today. My parents shared my diagnosis with me when I was 12 years old, so that I would be able to cope up with my differences. It took me some time to accept myself as I was. Only then did my frustration levels decrease. My focus on academics began. I also transitioned into following a sport with a lot of passion. Ma'am, previous slide, I did not come. On the slide, you can see my academic and co-curricular achievements throughout my school years. Next. I have noticed that quite a few parents of children with disabilities are tempted to make their all decisions for the child. They tend to overprotect them as they underestimate their own child's capabilities. They have some preconceived notions about what their child can or cannot do. And any child's developmental strategy revolves around the needs of school or society rather than the needs of the child. These are some of the ways my parents helped me grow up beyond academics. They guided me initially, but slowly started allowing me to take my own life decisions. They supported me when I told them that I wanted to join the mainstream class. I had a very poor muscle tone and I hated sports. When I decided to pursue competitive swimming, my parents had their own doubts on me, but still they helped me pursue it. They allowed me to take risks and encouraged me even if I fail. They always involved me in every decision impacting me and take my opinion seriously. They completely supported me when I wanted to be open about my autism and helped me understand how to communicate it to others initially. They created a progression chart to help me understand my journey, how autism defines me, and how to articulate my strengths and weaknesses to myself and to others. Ma'am, next. Most schools either are in the learning phase or worse, do not have a culture of providing inclusive education, especially for students with invisible disabilities. The negative perception, myths, and stereotypes around autism ensures that autism looks like a bad and scary thing, that autistic people are a burden on society. Autistic individuals cannot decide for themselves. Autism is a disease and even well-meaning people express pity rather than understanding and acceptance. So the consequences of these wrong perceptions are vast majority of children with autism, regardless of ability, are forced to opt for special school or open schools. There's tremendous barrier to employment for autistic adults. There's no effort to create sensory-friendly places in India. There's no effort to create neurodiverse methods of learning. Society normalizes bullying and hurtful behavior. They prefer to keep us separated from non-disabled people. Everybody else decides what is good for people with autism except autistic individuals. As I dug in the information, I got disheartened. I was going through a similar experiences in my school with my peers. I could look for pity from them, or I could help them understand my situation. I decided to do something about it. Next. I must say I stumbled into autism self-advocacy. When I had to change schools during my 10th grade, my classmates had no clue about my condition. My experiences in my new school pushed me towards self-advocacy. I had difficulty making friends, especially in high school. Many students used to bully me because I was different. Whenever I used to complain about it to my teacher or counselor, they would talk about it to the whole class, and even the students who were neutral to me would simply say that nothing happened. On the other hand, the bullies would turn the tables on me by saying that I started it. And since they were in the majority, I used to face the consequences and get scolded. No one in class was even willing to sit with me. I was all by myself. At that moment, I was so nervous and depressed that I requested my parents to shift me to homeschooling, but they refused. I began to think what I could do to change the situation. I understood that my classmates had no idea about what autism was. Even when I would tell them that I behaved in a particular way because I was autistic, I would only get a confused stare. I thought if I told the whole school about autism, how it affects an individual and what changes can be made to make them feel included, and maybe things might change for the better. So I began the Autism Awareness Program for my entire grade 12. It gave some mixed results. While there was no immediate change in attitude, slowly, I could see people stopping to say hi to me in the corridor. Better still, I started noticing that some students did make an effort to be nicer to other students with invisible disabilities. I told my parents that I wanted to spread autism awareness among schools. They were happy about my decision, but told me to start it after my board exams got over. I have been able to reach out to many schools and NGOs and started doing webinars on autism awareness. So far, I've been able to conduct 5 webinars and the response has been encouraging. I also enjoy interacting with others and have mentored some few kids on the spectrum. Next. So what exactly is self-advocacy? Self-advocacy is learning how to speak up for yourself, making your own life decisions about your own life, learning how to get information so that you can understand things that are of interest to you, finding out who will support you in your journey, knowing your rights, responsibilities, problem solving, listening, learning, reaching out to others when you need help, and friendship, and learn that you are in control of your own life. Why must we self-advocate? So that you have the knowledge needed to succeed and are given the chance to participate in decisions that are being made about your life. No one knows you and what you need better than you. Parents will not be there in college and in life. People aren't mind readers. You need to ask for support to get it. If you don't stand up for yourself, you don't get respect or are taken advantage of. Self-advocacy builds self-sufficiency. So the important tips I would give is, number 1, be aware of your own self, what autism means, your strengths and your challenges. Learn how to articulate what accommodations you need and why Participate in all decisions that impact you. Don't assume everyone knows autism. Speak up and educate them. Embrace your disability. Do not shy or be defensive about it. Don't let others define what you can or cannot do. Ma'am, next. It is a project started with the aim of creating self-awareness about neurodiversity and promoting its acceptance. It alters profound bias in the education system from deficiency approach to differences. The project aims to create a document based on policy changes for promoting neurodiversity and best practices for promoting neurodiversity in schools, send a petition to the government based on these suggestions, seek the help of NGO, parents, autism advocates, or professionals to reach out to more than 200 schools with specific recommendations on promoting neurodiversity in schools. Create a website to promote neurodiversity. Used a website to mentor other children facing issues in schools. Run an anti-bullying campaign in schools. Next, ma'am. I don't talk about autism for sympathy or pity. I talk about it to open a door into our lives, to help others understand, to educate, and build acceptance for children and adults living with autism. Next. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudraksh. Very rightly, people aren't mind readers. It is important for us to stand up for our own interests. Self-advocacy, that is to stand up for ourselves and our own community, is an important skill and a difficult one too. It is helpful to explicitly learn this skill early on in life. Your struggles will be an inspiration to so many. And all the best for your project on nurturing neurodiversity. I would like to now invite our next panelist, Drishan Grover. Drishan Grover is 23 years old and he got his diagnosis at the age of 3 years, along with his twin brother. After completing his BTech in Computer Science and Engineering, Drishan started working and living in Bangalore while his family stayed back in Delhi. He is good at mathematics, playing keyboard, singing, and coding. His hobbies include solving code word and acting. He will be sharing his experiences of living independently. Welcome, Drishan.
June 2019 was the last day of my college. I had completed my BTech in Computer Science. I had to make a choice between higher studies and job. I chose to go for a job because it would give me a break from studies. My focus till now was mostly on academics. I had to work hard on studies for more than 16 years. Doing a job would give me a chance to learn important life skills and an opportunity to put my classroom learning in real life. In July 2019, I got an offer from SAP Ariba to join them in Bangalore as an associate developer. I accepted the offer and got ready for a three-tier transition. From being a college student to being an employee. From living with family to living alone and independently. Moving cities from Delhi to Bangalore. Now I'll talk about my work. SAP has a program called Autism at Work. They employ autistic individuals and as part of the program, also sensitize their staff members about autism. So I got an understanding boss, Nitya ma'am, Buddy Ranjit, and other helpful team members. My office timings are 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. When I first moved to Bangalore, the first thing I need to do was to find a suitable accommodation. The first concern was safety as I was going to be living all alone. Other concern was extremely high rent and deposits. I wanted to find something that fitted my pocket. Third was to find clean and spacious house as I like to move around. Also, I wanted a place close to my workplace as Bangalore is famous for traffic jams, which is, by the way, much worse than Delhi. I could find an affordable, spacious apartment in a gated society, 30 kilometers far away from my workplace. So this was very far. I liked this place as I could have separate bedroom and study room and lots of space to move around. Also, my company provided me to and fro transport, which made it work. So this is my new address. You can see me sitting in this beautiful green society. This is my dining area, and this is my balcony. I enjoy swinging, so I sit in the balcony on the swing and follow my special interest every evening till it turns dark. I also have a separate study room and drawing room. Next on my agenda was to turn a house into a home. My mother, who had accompanied me to Bangalore, helped me achieve this. For the bare necessities, we bought some used appliances like TV, microwave, fridge, and washing machine, and bought and borrowed furniture. For cleaning the house, we found a house help who comes in the evening after I return from work, except she takes an off every Sunday. For running the house, I need to buy essentials. My long office hours make it impossible for me to shop daily, as planning and organizing on the spot is difficult for me, and as sometimes my head is buzzing with thoughts. I prepare a weekly shopping list. I shop on Saturday from Lulu Market and at other times do online shopping. In case of emergencies, I use Big Basket Instant and I absolutely love it. This is how it works. I use my phone to scan QR code. I choose item on mobile that I need to buy and confirm. The amount is deducted from Paytm. The door opens with a boom and there is a recorded message. I pick up my item and the message reminds me to close the door. As I mentioned, As I mentioned before, planning and organizing are not my strong points. I may not know what to cook daily. My mother gives me a monthly menu which I follow. This is how it looks like. I have fear of getting burnt with fire, so I cook on induction stove and microwave. I have learned to cook tomato rice, lemon rice, macaroni, and sausage rolls. My special interest, Kirby and Dory, remind me to keep leftover food in fridge and clean up the kitchen and table. As I can't see myself completely in the mirror and feel ticklish around the cheeks, I find shaving a bit difficult. This visual reminds me of the hot spots where I need to concentrate while shaving on weekdays. On weekends, I visit a barber shop for a proper shave. Nail cutting on old is scary, as I fear chopping off my own finger. So I visit the salon for the same twice a month. Money management is difficult for everyone, as it involves danger of misplacing card, money, or being cheated. There was a lot of learning I had to do in this area. I learned to use the ATM machine and follow the rules of not saying my PIN number aloud, and not covering with my hand while entering the PIN number. I maintain two separate purses, one for office and the other for shopping purposes. I keep extra cash and my card in lock and key. I also maintain record of my expenses so that I stay within my budget. I like to do online payments of electricity bill, utility charges, rent payment, etc. I use Paytm wherever possible. Paytm is more convenient for me than handling money. Schedule helps me manage my time. Rather than doing all chores in one day, I do one chore per day. Like one day, I charge the water pump. On other day, I water my plants. Like for some of you, alarms and reminders on my mobile help me be on time and remind me to take my medicines. Bangalore's weather is cool, which I enjoy. Bangalore has some excellent restaurants serving all kinds of food and cuisines. On Sundays, I have awesome food at restaurants like Big Drewski, Truffles, Social, and Polar Bear. I visit an old age home on weekends to read stories to elderly and also to dance with them. I visit my aunt and her family on some weekends. Some days there are community festivals at my apartment that I enjoy. Onam, Deepavali, Christmas was fun. There are lots of places near Bangalore where one can go for short stays. Whenever my family members come, we visit places. I've been to Pondicherry, Mahabalipuram, and Coorg recently. Weekday mornings are hectic. This is me waiting for my bus at 5:45 a.m. I return home by 5 p.m. Like I mentioned earlier, I am able to accomplish much with the help of my personal managers like schedule, stories, reminder. Though sometimes it feels tough, I get through. Despite all troubles, I love staying independently. However, I wish some things would change. I wish my neighbors would talk to me and be friendlier. I could make some friends at workplace. I could party with friends, not alone. I could have a 3D mirror or a talking mirror that would help me shave. I would write an algorithm for one someday. I wish people would be more trustworthy. I wouldn't have to put everything in lock and key. I also wish my maid would come on Sundays so that I wouldn't have to do the dishes on my own. It's important for parents to give us the opportunity to live independently and support us in ways that work for us and whenever we require. I would like to end with my favorite quote from Disney, Happily Ever After Fireworks Show. This is a message to all my autistic friends. Grab hold of your dreams and make them come true, for you are the key to unlocking your own magic. Now go, let your dreams guide you. Reach out and find your happily ever after. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, you are audible, Sudhanshu.
Yeah. So thank you, Drishan. That was a great presentation. And you made a very notable point for parents. Sometimes when our children are diagnosed, we give up our dreams for them. It is vital for us to remember that maybe we need to change our dreams to suit our child. Our child may have a different future, perhaps no less of one. I now invite Rakshita Shekhar, who will be sharing her experience as a special educator. Rakshita Shekhar is 32 years old and has finished her MA in Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities and begun her journey as an aspiring consultant for inclusive education school. Her advocacy efforts are geared towards providing safe spaces for autistic people to express their unique identities, enabling them to advocate for themselves, educating the society on the neurodiversity paradigm, and bridging conflicts between autistic and non-autistic people so that all may live and let live. She loves to sing, swing, and loves to spend time with her husband and son. Rakshita, over to you.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. And thank you to all the uh, advocates who spoke earlier because it makes my case much more stronger when I speak. So thank you for laying the foundation. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rakshita Shekhar. And like Sudhanshu said, I'm 32 years old. I'm a self-diagnosed uh, uh, autistic person, which means that uh, I had to find out that I'm autistic on my own and then seek out for a diagnosis. And currently I'm in the process of doing my evaluation for a diagnosis. Um, I so it's a very common thing for women to get diagnosed late in life or not get diagnosed at all. And that brings a lot of challenges uh, while living. And one of those was my journey to understanding who I am, what I want out of life, and how I should go about achieving my goals. So I was very good in science and math naturally, but I was very interested after my schooling. I was very interested in psychology and sociology and literature, because I wanted to understand about myself. I wanted to understand how people are. Why is it that I'm not able to have friends? Why is it that I don't understand what people are saying, or that people don't understand me? Why is there such a big gap between me and other people? And so I used to read a lot about psychology even when I was in school. And um, so I wanted to study the psychology after school, but you know how India is, arts and arts education is not uh, uh, encouraged as much as a science and science education. So because I had decent marks in science, I did a BE in mechanical engineering, and I joined a software firm, TCS, in Bangalore. Um, so while financially I was set, while it was utilizing my strengths, like I'm very good at understanding, looking at details. I'm very good at analyzing. I'm very good at coming up with out of box ideas. So at TCS, it was encouraged. These skills were encouraged, and everybody around me was very happy that I've finally started doing, started settling in my life. But then internally, I was very, very, very sad, because these came naturally to me, but then I didn't want to study these things. I didn't want to work on these things. My interests lay somewhere else. And by the time I finished my engineering, I had forgotten also, and I had suppressed what my interests really were. And within the first year, I was given a chance to um, take up an opportunity which people with 5 to 6 years of experience get. And the only criteria was that I should have done one certification in a then hot technology. And I said, I don't want to study that, and I don't want that certificate, and I don't care for that certificate. So that's when my boss, who was very, very nice to me, very understanding, he sat me down and he sort of coached me and uh, pushed me to look at what I really want out of life, and why, although I'm being given such a prestigious thing, I'm not ready to take it. And none of those, that logic of sometimes your hobby is less important, making a life is more important, that logic just didn't sit in my head. And I was very, very, very restless inside, as if I just didn't want to like waste any more time in my life. And then when I started thinking, and when I started reflecting, as my boss had encouraged me to do, I realized that what I really loved was teaching. I was already teaching since my 10th. After my 10th, I had started teaching so I used to teach in nearby small schools. I used to teach in crèche, like daycare centers. I used to teach in orphanages. I used to teach in blind schools. I even at TCS, I was teaching. We had started a project for children who stayed in remote areas, and I used to coach them and teach them over phone. I used to go to one very small town in Kanyakumari and teach there also once in 3 months, and then the rest of the time I used to speak to them on the phone. And in all these, like, nobody had to tell me to do these things. Nobody had to tell me to read about it. I used to be very good at it. I used to read a lot about teaching, about how to teach, about suppose there was a child who was not able to learn or not able to get a concept that I'm teaching. I used to read, find out ideas, and not give up until that child actually got that concept. Uh, and it really gave me a sort of a high. So that was what I started reflecting on, that what is it that I can lose myself in, and what do I want to learn on my own. And I wanted to make a career out of those things. Like I said, I had been already teaching since 10th. Since from 8th grade onwards, I used to go to the chota classes in school, and I used to help them with homework. So if all the teachers were in the staff room in a meeting, they would send high school students to monitor the primary classes. So I used to, even in 8th standard, I used to take up those opportunities a lot. I used to go and I used to teach children in the younger classes, and my teachers had also noticed that I was good at teaching. So I realized that this is something that I want to be involved in. I want to be absorbed in. This is something that I can lose myself in. This is something that I want to learn on my own. So I got a teaching degree and I joined a school, and my initial experiences were just amazing. I came in with a lot of enthusiasm. I could forget when I was reading, I was about teaching, or when I was preparing for classes at home, or when I was teaching in school. I could forget sleep, hunger, pain, thirst, anybody else talking, other sounds. I could forget everything in the world, and it was the most joyous thing. It is still the most joyous thing for me when I'm teaching. I love to experiment. I was very good, I am still very good at analyzing student needs. And I can make classes a lot of fun. That my strength is that I can ensure that every child in the class is learning. And that every child in the class wants to learn. I was also very good at managing challenging behaviors. So from the most aggressive child to the most depressed child on the verge of suicide, I had a connect with each of them, and I could see each of them wanting to learn, wanting to, finding happiness in the school environment. So parents, students, and I, we loved each other. But the barriers were quite a lot. I could not sustain relationships with my peers. I could not manage the noise, not in the class. In my class, the noise would be very productive noise, and I didn't mind the noise in the class at all. But it was in the staff room when everybody was talking, or it was during meetings when there are other people, when there's the sound of other things, when we are having the meeting, the time based work, like the the period bell gets over at a certain time, like you have only 40 minutes to teach or 30 minutes to teach, and then you have to shift to another. So if I'm teaching 7th grade, then I have to immediately shift to 8th grade where I'm doing something totally different. And that shift was very, very, very difficult.